For USCFootball.com, I'm Keely Eure here with Dan Weber for instant analysis of USC's second player-run practice PRP of the summer. And Dan, we're on Cromwell Field right now. The PRP was on Howard Jones. We were not on Howard Jones. Do you want to explain the setup that we're dealing with so far this summer?
Well, apparently the decision has been made, and they tell us that compliance is involved, that if it's a workout on Howard Jones, and the media is there, it counts against the USC players' allowable hours of working out. If we're not there, then it's just an old player-run practice. Now, they could have it here on Cromwell, but apparently they give the players the choice. You can go to Howard Jones, you can go to Cromwell. If they go to Cromwell, we're allowed to be here because it's a normally open facility. The public can come in and walk the track and do all that kind of stuff. So we stayed on Cromwell. They were on Howard Jones. Actually, you can watch it probably better almost from up in the stands in Loker Stadium. You can almost watch it better. And so that's how it ended up. We're not allowed to talk to them in June anyway. So essentially, we're observing, from Cromwell Field where we're allowed to be, and we're not on Howard Jones where they're allowed to be and we're not allowed to be, but probably doesn't limit us much since we can't talk to them in June, but that's kind of where we are.
Mm-hmm. As far as the PRP goes, there are no incoming freshmen today, even though they are moving in today. I think simultaneously as this PRP was going, they were doing like a send-off with the parents and the players, with the coaches, a little brunch type of thing. So they're getting moved in while this PRP is happening. They did 2 hours of conditioning beforehand. 6 a.m. they were on the field, 7 a.m. they went in to go lift weights, and then they came back out for 8 a.m. PRPs. So what were your general takeaways from today?
Well, I think it was interesting, and this happens every year, that they schedule something for the freshmen at the exact same time they're doing a PRP. You probably would have liked to have seen them adjust that so you could, for our purposes, you'd love to see, JT Daniels if this would, his first workout. So that's 2 workouts this week, essentially without the freshmen. What it looks like is they're practicing to practice. It looks like a regular practice without the coaches. All the same kind of, periods, and it doesn't quite resemble years past player-run practices. It seemed more driven by, the personalities of the quarterbacks and, the different personalities and all of that. This looked like a normal practice broken down into an hour and compressed to an hour anyway, without the coaches. Otherwise, it looked very similar. The one thing it didn't look, they're not in pads, so it looked more like a combination of sort of dummy workout. You really couldn't tell, certainly in any of the group stuff and the team stuff, whether it didn't look like they were going full speed. It looked like they were just trying to get their, bearings or whatever. The defense started out with a couple of interceptions fairly early, but then from then on, it didn't look like they were interested in challenging the offense. It was kind of hard to decide exactly what are we seeing happening out there. It just, they went through the motions. It didn't look like, if you said, are they better after today's practice than when they started practice? Maybe in terms of some, understanding of the terminology or whatever, but in terms of actually, doing the kinds of physical things and full speed things and under pressure things, probably not.
Mm-hmm. As a whole, it did seem that it was kind of a little bit going through the motions at times, but individually, I thought the D-line, when they went through their individual drills, they looked like they were going pretty hard, as well as some of the outside linebackers. Porter looked like, as Porter does, he took it very seriously today.
Yeah, I think that's what the benefit of, and there's more. Everybody's there. There were 71 there, not counting any of the freshmen. So I think 36 on defense, 35 on offense. So you had pretty much everybody there. Stephen Carr was here with a backpack, and he came to the gate and then headed off. We didn't see Olawale Batuka, and we did not see Daniel Amadrababy, but we're hearing that he's doing well. Other than that, I think pretty much everybody was here. But it's a different. It's kind of different because I don't remember in the past where they went, the 6 to 8, and then came out. I think normally we would see them. They were inside first. Then they would be out on the field, and then they'd kind of stay out or go in and get some water and whatever and come back out.
Yeah.
So they've changed the schedule a little bit. Don't know how that affects these guys or not, but today was the first day that we really got to pay attention to them. We'll see where it goes from here.
Mm-hmm. You mentioned 2 interceptions early on for the quarterbacks. For Matt Fink and Jack Sears, this is kind of the last practice they'll be able to have without JT Daniels. They're bolstering the competition. What do you think that you saw from both quarterbacks today?
Well, I don't know that we saw enough. And I know we were kidding about the idea that whoever's in charge is probably going to close that gate tomorrow, the next practice before the freshmen get there, because that's kind of the big deal now is the gate to Howard Jones open or closed. And I know Michael Pittman went back inside and was rushing up, and Tyler Vaughn's had gotten there. He was like the second last player around the gate, and he started to close it, and Michael's yelling, no, keep it open, and he slams it right in his face. So that you like that kind of stuff. How that's going to work with JT Daniels, I don't know. I know the quarterbacks were working really hard today on throwing the really deep ball, not just the 30-yarder, but the 45 and 50-yarder. And, that's a work in progress for those guys. And just recognition and when not to, throw into coverage and all that. But because the defense wasn't necessarily going after him all the way. I don't know what we were, exactly seeing, but it's you probably didn't see quarterbacks that would tell you, okay, these are guys that can win at this level yet. It's a long summer, a lot of work to be done. It was an interesting practice, and this is a run-first team, we're told, but probably the first running play didn't happen until 2/3 of the way through 11 on 11. There just wasn't a lot of running going on, and there's a lot of horizontal stuff. We're not seeing it go down the field as much as maybe you think it probably has to, but we'll see.
Mm-hmm. In prior years, we've seen the intensity turn up once the incoming freshmen join the team. We see a lot of mentoring going on. Do you think that will happen once we see the incoming freshmen come in?
I think without a doubt. I don't think there's just the circumstances of a JT Daniels, Amon-Ra, those guys. I just think their presence alone is going to, people get nervous about incoming freshmen getting a lot of publicity, but there is a way that works, and the upperclassmen know these guys have gotten a lot of publicity, and if that adds to the competitive nature, one of the things that probably didn't happen today wasn't it one of those real competitive practices. And my guess is it wasn't supposed to be, but it's harder to evaluate if you're not on the inside. It's harder to evaluate when you're on the outside like we were, just watching what's going on if it's not set out to be a real competitive practice. But I'm thinking with the freshmen here, it'll get competitive quickly.
Mm-hmm. All right, that's going to wrap it up for the second PRP of the summer. For Dan Weber, I'm Keely Eure. For more, check out uscfootball.com.